Hello, everybody. It feels like a little while since I've been here speaking to you all. Thank you for being here on my YouTube channel. Really, really appreciate you being subscribed. Do tell your friends if there are people you think you know who could benefit from this, who would enjoy watching these videos. I'd love to see more people join us here so that we can have more and more people feeling the grounded truth of who they really are. But today I'm coming on to talk about how the Mace Energy Method process works because I've had a few questions about it recently in the last few weeks, and so I thought it might be helpful to get on a video and talk about it. And kind of not talk about it because it's a really tricky area to actually describe and explain. When we're working in the Mace Energy Method, the fact it's called an energy method is because we're working in the energy universe. We're not working in this physical universe where the laws of physics and time and motion apply. We're working in the energy universe where the rules are different, where the laws are different. And the thing I love so much about the energy universe that we tap into with the Mace Energy Method is that it's not some far off fancy place. It doesn't involve getting into any kind of altered state of consciousness. It doesn't involve you doing anything weird with your energy or accessing anything weird energetically. It doesn't involve me doing anything with your energy. And I've done modalities like that before, both as recipient and giver of. This with the Mace Energy Method, I don't do anything in your energy field. I am not tapping into your energy. I'm not clearing your energy. You are entirely sovereign in this whole process. You're in charge of the whole thing. I'm in charge of the process because I know the process, so I step you through the process. I guide you step by step on every single step of the path. But you are in charge of the whole process. You're doing the work for yourself, which is incredibly empowering and incredibly powerful creating. Because, of course, through the process, then you clear out the negativity that stops you feeling like the real you, and you're back fully in charge again, feeling truly like the real you, who you really are. But I thought, given that so many people keep asking about the process, and albeit it's hard to talk about because it's an energy universe modality, therefore, in some ways, it's kind of pointless talking about it because mostly if I described it to you, it wouldn't really make sense, or you would think it sounded impossible or pointless or like that's yeah like the our logical physical world brain just goes what I don't get it, and that's normal, like there's no need for you to get it. That's why it's such an awesome process as well. You don't need to understand it at a theoretical level to benefit from the effects of it. Of course, as practitioners we go into the theory. That's our job. That's what we're here to do. But you don't have to. That's why anybody can walk in off the street and follow this process step by step because we give you literally everything you need in the session. And you don't need any background knowledge. Some people, of course, will read John's book, Causism, or listen to the audio version, which I've just forgotten the name of. Um, it's about upsets, energy and upsets. Oh, okay. Google John Mace, energy, upsets. You'll find his audiobook. Same book, different title, different format. So you can research, by all means, research, read things like my website. I would highly recommend you don't currently chat too much to AI about it because what we're discovering as practitioners is AI does not know what the Mace Energy Method is about. It is getting a lot better. We're helping it learn. But I just went into it actually to ask it, tell me what the Mace Energy Method process involves, because I thought, let's just see what it comes back with, see if it gives me some useful pointers for this video. Oh my goodness. I had to correct it like 3 or 4 times because it kept pulling in things from other modalities. And each time I corrected it, it was like, oh, yeah, sorry, I just took that from Byron Katie's process. Oh, yeah, sorry, I just took that from somatic healing processes. Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right. That's not actually something that the Mace Energy Method is about. So please, 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 a word of caution, which is for all of your use of AI. Please be careful with what you're taking as truth because Literally, if I didn't know the process and I'd read what was there, I'd have trusted that that was what the process involved. I would have believed the chat GPT for what it was telling me, but it was not true. It was not telling me the truth. And it was only through me challenging it and saying, "Are you sure?" that then it corrected itself. But I had to correct it like 3 or 4 times till it was actually accurate with what it was talking about. So, hence even more why I thought, let's get on here and do a video so that we're not dealing with misinformation and misunderstandings. And yeah, therefore, really please speak to me or another practitioner if you've got questions. Please hear it from the people who've gone through 6 months of training, who and more, because we've often gone on to do advanced training after the initial training. People who've actually done it as a practitioner and therefore learnt so much through the delivery of it as a practitioner. Please don't rely on Chat GPT or any other AI right now because it's just not giving accurate information. As I say, we're doing our best to update it to make sure it is more accurate and it is getting better. But yes, little pinch of salt sometimes required with what the AI says. So anyway, back to the process. So so as I said, there's no real benefit in me explaining the process step by step in terms of what you literally do because it doesn't particularly make sense. It doesn't sound like it would work. It sounds like some weird thing that you'd just go, yeah, weird. And in fact, some clients do say that process was weird, but it works. And I'm just interested in if it works. Like I all through my journey, my priority has been, does it work? My priority has been, does this help me with this problem I've got right now? If it does, amazing. I don't really mind what I'm doing. I will jump in and I will do the thing. And thank goodness I've been like that because it's taken me on an amazing journey of exploring so many modalities, which ultimately led me to this and to see that this is the ultimate that I've ever come across in terms of cleaning up emotional problems. So, so what I am going to do today is give you a sense of of um, the kind of level of information that's required in the process. First of all, before you even come to your Mace Energy Method foundation sessions, there must be something you don't like in your life, and you have to want it to change. Those are essential. There are no two ways about it because we cannot BS this process. That's something I love about it. It's so full of integrity. I can't clean anything out for you. It's your process, it's your work. But even you can't clean it out for you unless you actually want it to change. So, knowing you want it to change is absolutely essential to the process. Something you don't like, something you want to change. Those are your prerequisites to booking your foundation sessions. If you can say yes to both of those, then go ahead, jump in, book your sessions. When you're in the session with the practitioner, as I've just said, we as the practitioners guide you through the whole process step by step. So, for people like me who've been used to being the practitioner, when I first went to my foundation sessions, my practitioner had to hold me in the process. We're really good when we've been helpers in life at comparing it to all the different things we've done and tried and learnt, all these other understandings of humans and what we are and who we are and how all these thoughts and feelings and things happen. So I remember very clearly I was sitting there in my foundation process going, oh, this is kind of like that. Oh, that's kind of like that. Oh, how's this working in relation to that? I was so much off in analysis and trying to piece conceptual pieces of the puzzle together rather than just being present with the very simple process that my practitioner was guiding me through. All of that really impacts the process in terms of slowing it down. All that analysis I was doing, all of that trying to join the dots I was doing does not help the process. And so, as a practitioner, I often encourage my clients to really sit in client mode. Step out of being the helper, step out of being the practitioner, step out of being the expert on whatever it is you have been expert in the past. Come to it as a person, as a client, totally open and ready to go with the process. Trusting the process, trusting in your practitioner, they have totally got you. We have totally got you with the process every single step of the way. We know the thing to say, we know the thing to do, we know the question to ask, we know when to leave space, we know when to step in. we've got you. We've totally got you with the process. So let's bring it then into the requirements of the process itself. Fundamentally, as I've said a couple of times, it is very simple. When you aren't doing what I was doing in my first session, trying to figure it all out, when you just are in that client mode, following the instructions, answering the questions, it is a very, very simple process and it gets incredible results. And the more you are in the simplicity of the process, the quicker and easier you get those results. And I've seen that with clients again and again. The ones who just step in, trust the process, trust me, let me guide and lead them. The ones who don't try and take control of the process, who allow themselves to be in charge of their part of the process, absolutely, but who leave me to be in charge of my part of the process, those are the sessions that go the best. Those are the sessions that go the easiest, and therefore get the most delightful results because you see incredible shifts in a very short time. So then when we step into the process itself, we're working with this very simple data, which is always right here, right now. As I said before, I wasn't helping myself by pulling from the past and all my toolkit of other previous experiences. All the information you need is right here, right now. So let's give you a little experience of this. So if I say to you right now, how do you feel right now? Feel free to pause if you want a little bit longer, but you will have had a moment there of recognition of how you feel right now. That's the kind of information we're asking for in the moment. If I was to say to you, what's the thought that just crossed your mind? Whether it was one that it was just there before I asked the question or the one that popped up as I asked the question, a thought just crossed your mind. That's the kind of level of information we're using in the session. If I was to give you this simple instruction of look at an object in front of you, are you looking at an object? Great. So you can see an object. That's it. You're looking at something. We use that capacity. And we use mental images, and I'll talk about that in a second, but you're still just looking at an object. So you can follow that instruction. You're looking at that object. Good. And here's another one, the kind of level of information that we might be looking for. With that object that you're looking at, how big is that object? So I'm kind of got my attention on my computer screen. It's kind of this big. It's kind of medium-sized. Doesn't matter how you describe it. You know the size of the object. That's the kind of information we're working with. There's nothing more complicated than that. That's the simplicity. And truth and simplicity are synonymous. So you know that when you're working with a simple process, you're moving in a really, really good direction. Whenever anything gets complex, complicated, tangled, we really know we're moving out of alignment with the truth. So it's an incredibly simple process. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that we work with mental images rather than these physical ones. We work with mental images in the Mace Energy Method process. And I have had so many people say to me, oh, I really can't do visualization. I really can't do mental images. Every single one of them has moved through the process, no problem. Let me take that back. Not necessarily no problem. Sometimes we've had to discreate that. We've had to have to actually use the process to discreate any concepts they have about their ability to see a mental image. But that's really the minority. The vast majority, like I would say 99%, 99.9% of the people who've said, oh, I really struggle with mental images, they have been absolutely fine. We do some test little experiments with you as part of the introduction. So you get to check it. We get to check it together and see, do you actually see a mental image? And we can talk about that during the process. If you feel like you're struggling at all with seeing something, then we work with that and we either solve it, or equally you might just go, no, I don't want this process. I don't like this process. And then you leave and we give you a refund. No problem. But yeah, 99.9% of the people I've worked with have said they have a problem with mental images. And when we actually get into it and we actually check it, there is no problem. Because I want to be really clear that we're not doing visualization here. I'm going to do one of these now. Like, I am terrible at visualization. Some people seem amazing at being able to close their eyes and like visualize scenes and like future possibilities. I am terrible at keeping my attention on that. Give me somebody guiding me, then I'm a bit better. I can kind of hold myself in that a little bit more easily. But I really am terrible at doing it for myself. But that's okay. We're not doing visualization in this. We're not doing any kind of like visualize a lovely garden with flowers and trees and where you really want to be and visualize yourself feeling empowered in that garden. Like we're totally not doing that kind of imagery work. It's really not that kind of imagery work. It's very practical. It's very much just, is there a mental image there? And it doesn't matter what the image is. That's not the process. So if you've got any ideas about, oh, but I can't do mental images, oh, but I can't do visualization, really please park that and give the process a go. If you have something that you want to change, absolutely essential. If you have something that you want to change, genuinely want to change. So, yeah. So, therefore, this thing about images used in the process, as I say, 0.0001 of my clients who've ever had a concern with it have had to actually do something active in the process about that, which, as I say, we then just use the process. I know it sounds nuts, but you can actually use the process to get over any little issues with the process like that, which is kind of nuts, isn't it? Given we use mental images in the process and they're saying, oh, but I can't do mental images. And yet we can use that process to to clear out any of that. What's not true, what's fundamentally not true. Everybody, every human being on the planet can access this process, can do this process. Everybody has the ability, everybody has the required capacities. There is no special knowledge or expertise required. There is nobody who's an exception to being able to do this process. The only thing that creates exception is it the process for you? And it might not be, and that's okay. There are loads of other things you can do. I mean, this for me was the absolute best one. Doesn't mean it will be for you. So you have to check for yourself. What do you want to do? Even if you go and do 10 things and come back to this, well, perfect, because that's exactly the 10 things that you were meant to do for you. If you want to come straight to this, then great, that's exactly what you're meant to do for you. Really, really follow your own guidance, follow your own knowing, follow your own next step, because that's the right next step for you. So the fact of choice of whether this is the process for you is a totally different matter to the fact that it is 100% for every single person on the planet. Because there is nothing special about anybody that either gives them access to this working or not. And that's really amazing because it really levels the playing field, which is also a thing that is in alignment with truth. We are all equal in this human experience. There's nobody better than or worse than. There's nobody who's more capable at doing the Mace Energy Method and people who are less capable. There is just you moving through a process guided by a practitioner who knows all about what goes on in these sessions and can guide you with whatever it is that comes up. So it's really, really very cool for that reason, because it gives everybody access to something which is incredibly powerful, incredibly transformative. As long as there's something you don't like in your life, as long as there's something you want to change, and as long as you come ready to follow your practitioner's guidance, instructions, questions, and trust them, trust the process, and go with it. It really is so simple, so impactful, so transformative. I really, really look forward to meeting you when you're ready to book on for your foundation sessions. Thank you for being here today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.